Ruby Red is a new Doctor Who novel by Georgia Cook. It features the 15th Doctor and his companion Ruby Sunday. The audiobook version of it is read by Millie Gibson, which is very exciting. I went out and purchased the audiobook the first day that I could, because hearing the adventures of the Doctor and Ruby Sunday continuing after the first season has aired, though this adventure takes place during the first season with the two of them, and having it be read by Millie Gibson was very exciting for me because I thoroughly enjoyed this first new season of Doctor Who featuring Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson. But was it a good adventure? Was it worth my time? I think overall I enjoyed it as a fan of the first season. It was fun to continue spending time with these characters. Non-spoiler summary about this book is that they go back in time on Earth and they find themselves in the middle of both a family dispute between three sisters. They come from a warrior family. The two older sisters want the youngest sister to be a warrior like them, and the youngest sister wants absolutely nothing to do with fighting. Instead, she finds her skills as an engineer, mechanic, inventor. And while they are having this squabble, there is something underneath the ice of a frozen lake that is slowly taking control of the people and wildlife of this time, and you can tell because their eyes begin to glow a distinct ruby red hue. The adventure itself was a fairly standard Doctor Who premise of, alien trying to take over the world, but I think that the dynamic of this mind-controlling alien led to a lot of interesting insights into both the 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday that you get to have from an enemy that enters into characters' minds. You get to hear a little more of their thoughts and fears and where they're at mentally. I found that I enjoyed getting to spend more time with these characters. I wish there was a bit more on the actual friendship and dynamic between the Doctor and Ruby, because I feel like, especially in the middle of the 8-episode season that we got with them, that was kind of lost, and I really liked their dynamic, so I wanted to see more of it. And this definitely had it. It just wasn't as much like them focused as I was perhaps hoping, but those were my expectations based on nothing. So this is me telling you, this is not like if you're hoping to see exclusively like the two of them just having banter and going at it, this isn't exactly that. This is them on a fairly early adventure together. Having read through the book and watched through the first season, my guess is that this book takes place in the approximately 6-month time gap that appears between the Space Babies episode and the Devil's Cord episode. We know there's about a 6-month gap because Space Babies takes place right after Ruby's birthday, which is Christmas, and then in the Devil's Cord, she says that it is June or July in her time. So it's been about a 6-month gap. We don't know exactly how much of that time gap the two of them were traveling together, but it's clear that there is some trust built and there is a history of the two of them going on death-defying adventures together, and this is one such adventure. So if you want to see one of their earlier adventures together, them beginning to build their rapport and trust with each other, this is more of that. I found that the writing throughout absolutely nails the characterization of the Doctor and Ruby, which is great. Though something that I did notice a bit early on in listening to the audiobook version of it is, well, one, I'm a dumb American and now I need to pay a little extra attention to the British accent of the person who's reading it. That's on me. I should have thought about that a little bit more. But overall, I found that Millie Gibson did fine as an audiobook reader. I wasn't like blown away, but I also wasn't like, oh my god, I can't follow anything, this is so boring. I thought she did totally fine. I'm not 100% positive, but she's a pretty young performer, so I'm going to assume that this is her first time reading an audiobook, and it kind of shows. She did an amazing performance in all of her episodes of the first season of her time on Doctor Who, and she likewise in this book did an excellent job whenever she was doing the voice or dialogue of any of the characters. Obviously for Ruby, she gets the Doctor pretty well. The sisters feel like they're unique. Their uniqueness kind of builds a little bit throughout the book, but they have their own distinct voices. And she does a fun villain voice for the Genetrix, the mind-controlling parasite being. But things like scenery, events, and action felt a little bit flat. I don't mean to be too harsh or nitpicky, but the scenery and the dialogue didn't blend well together. When it's a dialogue-heavy moment, Millie Gibson is knocking it out of the park and killing it, but then when there's some scenery and action going on, it feels just kind of like we're just being read something, which is what's happening, but I've listened to quite a few audiobooks, and there's certainly a way to play with the narrator as a character on its own that Millie Gibson doesn't quite do, which I was a little disappointed by. Again, she's a great performer, but her first time, oh well. Those are overall my thoughts on both the book and audiobook version of Ruby's Red. I enjoyed it, and I think it is for anyone who is a fan of the 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday. And if you're kind of like, this is not any spectacular book that's going to knock you out of the park. But if you already enjoy these characters, this is some more time with them and an early adventure with Ruby, so you get to see more of her delving into the world of the Doctor. And this feels like the first biggest threat that she's dealing with. Like the Maestro in The Devil's Cord is this world-ending threat, and she is shocked and appalled when the Doctor takes her back to her time, and the world has ended if they don't stop the Maestro. This is an earlier event on the planet that has potential humanity-ending consequences, but because the TARDIS is powered down by the, I guess I shouldn't spoil that, because the TARDIS is powered down, they aren't able to escape to the future to show how big the stakes are, but the stakes are big. This is the biggest stakes adventure that Ruby is on at this point in her companion career. So if you're interested in anything like that, this is the book for you. If you're kind of like, I don't know, I only want the like really, really good, like can't put this down stuff, I'd say hold off on this book. It's good, but it's not great. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you read the book, let me know what you think down in the comments below, or also just let me know what you think about the dynamic between the 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday. I thoroughly enjoyed them. Definitely contributed by the fact that Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson are phenomenal actors, and their chemistry together is undeniable. But thank you so much for watching, and have a good week.